Well, welcome to the San Diego Argonauts February Sail Points races. This is the ODOM class we have racing right now. We're going to have 3 races today. We have 16 boats. It's a good turnout for us. The wind is about 4 knots to 6 knots right out of the west. So the starting line, which is now off to the left of the screen, is a pretty fair line. We do have some good starboard tack lifts coming in and a few port tack lifts as the wind shifts around. There's some good holes out there as well. There is about 30 seconds, a little less than 30 seconds until the start. I am the boat, the ODOM with the red stripe on the jib, right in the center of your picture. I've got a little miniature camera mounted to the top of my hat. Wherever my head is turned is the picture you're going to see. Whoops, I jibed a little close to that fella. Trying to get myself positioned for a good start. The bell goes off. I'm looking for my boat. There I see it, red stripe on the jib. Didn't have a very good start there. I thought I was on the line and I thought I was moving, but I don't think I got on the wind as soon as I should have. Also, because I was so close to the line, I couldn't start going to close halt until that bell actually went off. So an okay start, not great, but right now I have clear air. That wind's staying pretty much right out of the west, so we haven't seen any big shifts. I've got fairly good air over there. I'm staying on starboard tack, it looks like. See 43 now in the foreground here. We got some very nice air off on the right hand side. He's looking really good. Look at that wonderful air he's got there. Nice. You can see how high he's pointing. That's that starboard tack lift coming in. So in hindsight, being on this side of the pond certainly would be a good place to be. But I'm on the far side. I went pretty much to the far side of the pond. I think I'm still on starboard over there, although I've got to tell you, it's difficult for me to tell. There, I've just tacked onto port, so I was still on starboard. I was doing pretty well. I've got a good lift, albeit on the far side of the pond. I got a good starboard tack lift, so I wanted to stay with that. Unfortunately, it did take me to the far side. Now I've got some pretty good wind coming in on port. Again, I'm the boat with the red stripe on the jib. Looks like 82 is just leeward of me, but I'm going to be inside at the mark. We had some nice air moving across, so I was fortunate to pick that port tack lift coming across. You can see the good air on the water. There's the rest of the fleet coming in. So I got ahead of most of the fleet on the far side of the pond, riding that lift, and then was fortunate enough to get some a good port tack wind, port tack lift, a little bit of a lift working across to the weather mark. My purpose in doing these videos is to look at the races afterwards, like football players and other sports people take a look at what's going on after taping their games, to try to learn from what they see, learn from their mistakes. What did I do that looked good? What did I do that did not look good? I think I was pretty fortunate in this case. I got in pretty good position at the weather mark. And I think I stepped into a hole on the edge of the pond there, shaking around a little bit. So I'm in second place out of the 16 boats. Feel pretty good about that. 43, I believe, is the boat that's in the lead out there. He's a very good boat. We're going to go around this mark that he is just approaching, and then we're going to work back to the weather mark again. So this is a lap and a half course for us. So that's a coverage I wanted to give for the start. So what we're going to do is break off here, and we're going to pick up the start of race number 2. Okay, so here we are at race number 2. Still basically the same wind, 4 to 6 knots out of the west. Some lifts, mostly from starboard, wind shifting to the northwest. So starboard tack lifts. A few from the southwest as well, port tack lifts. About 30 seconds until the start, I believe. Again, I'm the boat with the red stripe on the jib, looking right in I'm looking around here trying to sort out what's going on. About 15 seconds. There's 15 seconds right now. I'm trying to figure out where I want to be to have clear air. I'm pulling back. I'm lagging back right now because I want to be at the pin.
901 over early.
There we go. Okay, so I slowed my boat down so the boats ahead of me would indeed be ahead of me, and I could harden up right at the pin. That timing worked out pretty well. So I was right at the pin at the start, and you can see I've got excellent position here. I've got nice air, clear air. I'm in good position on the fleet, and importantly, if I want to tack, if I were to get headed, if I want to tack, I'm free to do that whenever I want. So right now I'm just trying to make the boat go fast. My eyes are probably glued pretty much on the telltales on the jib. Got good heel on the boat, so the wind's up in the 6 knot range, maybe a little even a little bit more than that. I'm looking back at the boats behind me. I'm making sure not a lot of people are tacking over to get onto port. I want to keep between the competition, that's the boats behind me, and the mark. And looks like I have just tacked over onto port. Had a little bit of traffic. Again, I'm trying to keep my air clear. I'm hoping for a port tack lift. I have no way of knowing whether or not that's going to happen. I'm looking at the water, but there's nothing that's jumping out at me here. Got pretty good air. I've got pretty good heel on the boat. Pretty happy with that. Wind's moving around a little bit. And I'm getting myself up to the ley line. Decide it's time to tack. Overstood just a touch, just for insurance. Don't want to get... ODOM's a very light boat. If I were to get headed because of a wind shift as I was getting to the mark, it's not going to carry very far. So I wanted a little bit of insurance in the bank there. So I was first around the weather mark. This is the offset mark we're going around now. And now the decision is, do I jibe or stay on starboard as we head downwind? And that's where I think my telltale on the top of the boat's really important. I use a streamer type telltale. It's not an arrow. An arrow will always point in one direction, even if there's no wind whatsoever. The streamer, on the other hand, gives you direction, but also gives you some idea of what the wind strength is like. And I will tell you, racing this morning, that wind got pretty light, and it got very shifty at times too. You'd get in some holes, and it would be like the wind is swirling, which I found very perplexing. It's not really our typical condition, but that's what we ran into today. So I've got good position on the fleet. I'm pretty happy right now. So with that, we're going to break off here from race number 2, and we'll move on to race number 3. Okay, here we are at race number 3, our last race for the ODOMs. No big changes in the wind. Still about 6 knots out of the west generally. Few shifts. Got some holes. Gets pretty light going downwind at times. About 30 seconds until the start. Again, I'm that boat with the red stripe on the jib. I like stand to weather of the line when I can, because I've got plenty of air to maneuver around. 15 seconds, so lots and lots of boats at the pin end. So I'm on the wrong side of the mark, the weather mark, and I decided to just drive over the top of them, find a hole on the line, drop down behind the line, and the bell goes off. And there I am at the far end of the pack, and you can see how nice that red stripe on the jib is. Lets me pull my boat out of the fleet fairly well. Again, there's 16 boats here, so that can be quite a crowd. And it's nice being a little bit ahead of everybody, but it's not always going to be the case. But you can look down the line pretty fast, and I can pull my boat out. Okay, so I had a pretty good start. I was on the line, I was at speed, I had clear air, and now I'm just trying to drive my boat, make it go fast. I'm in good position on the fleet. I could tack if I wanted to. I think I can clear those boats that are behind me. That's my hailing for sea
Jimmy,
room.
81's going to come off the beach.
There we go. Okay, now I'm on port.
82 was the boat next to me.
Got pretty much to the far side over there. It looks like I'm going to have to duck one starboard tacker. Yes. I find it's a conservative and a prudent thing to do to drop behind starboard tackers generally. Sometimes you don't want to do that, but I wanted to get across more to the right-hand side of the pond than the left-hand side. So I wanted to be able to continue over here on this near side. Easier to see the boat, but more importantly, I think the shifts were generally coming from the right-hand side. Wind's a little on the light side here. You can see we're getting into some shallow water. That ODOM's got a pretty deep keel. Now, I pretty much got headed. I'm trying to figure out what is that wind doing. I'm looking at my telltale at the top of the boat, which you can actually see on the video right now, I think. It gives me a good indication of what's going on with the wind, even before it starts to have an effect on the sails. So it's a good early indicator. Now those boats are looking really good coming in on port, just as I did in the last race. So I'm working through on starboard. Whoa, there's a port
Ron,
and
it was the right idea the first time you ducked.
Thought he was going to change course, and he started to do that. So I am around, not in bad position. I guess I think I'm in 4th, maybe 5th. Could have been worse, but I'm in the hunt. I'm close to the leaders, and that's the best I can hope for. Again, going around the offset mark, the question for me is, do I want to jibe or stay on the same jibe? To jibe over, and I think in this case I did jibe over onto port. It's not clear to me looking right now. I thought there was better air over on this side.
Yes. You don't want the boats going downwind to be running into the boats that are going upwind.
So I think at this point, again, my goal, get a good start with clear air, be up to speed, close hauled on the line when the gun goes off. If you do that, you're going to have clear air because nobody can be in front of you unless they're over early. Make sure your boat goes fast. That's why we practice during the weeks. Make sure you've got as good a speed, maybe not better, but at least as good a speed as everybody else. And if you do that, you'll be off the line, you'll be in good shape, and then of course you hope you wind up in pretty good shape at the weather mark. That's what I always try to do. And if you can do that, then the rest of the race, I do believe, generally takes care of itself. So I'm in okay position here, not great, but this is a boat race, and this is where the fun's at. So I'm looking for the shifts. I want to sail on the lifts, and if I do that, I will get to the weather mark before other boats who are not sailing on the lifts. So I think with that, we'll break off for the ODOMs today, and hope you picked up some tips. The Nationals will be here at the Mission Bay Pond. I believe it's August for Sail Week. So this will be the venue, the sailing venue. Not sure what the weather's going to be like, certainly. That's too far away, but at least you get some idea of what's going on here if you're going to be coming out for the Nationals this year. So hope to see you folks out here. And with that, I think I'll sign off. Hope you've picked up some tips here. Take care.